Welcome back to Confident English, the place where we don't just learn to speak better, we learn to live better. If you've ever worried that time is slipping away, if you've looked at your reflection and wondered, is it too late to start over? Then today's story is just for you. Because aging isn't the enemy. Regret is. And today, I want to share a story that might change the way you see your future and yourself. This is Aging Isn't Scary. It's how you live that matters. I used to think that aging was something to fear. That growing older meant losing everything that made life exciting. Energy, opportunity, beauty, relevance. It felt like this quiet countdown was always ticking in the background. One more year gone, one more wrinkle, one more step closer to being forgotten. I remember once looking in the mirror, catching the first signs of time on my face, and feeling a strange panic settle in. It wasn't just about vanity. It was about value. I thought that with every passing year, I was becoming less capable, less worthy, less visible. I was terrified of becoming one of those people society politely overlooks. Someone whose time had passed, whose voice no longer mattered. That fear shaped so many of my choices. I rushed through my 20s and 30s, trying to cram in all the milestones I thought I needed to hit before I became too old. Career, relationships, achievements. I chased them not just out of desire, but out of desperation. I wanted proof that I mattered. And when things didn't go as planned, when I failed, when I lost jobs, when love slipped through my fingers, I didn't just feel disappointment. I felt shame. Because in my mind, I was running out of time to get life right. But then, everything shifted. Not in some grand dramatic way. Not all at once. It started quietly, on a day when I was feeling particularly low, burnt out by chasing and never arriving. I went for a walk to clear my head. I had no destination, just an urge to escape the noise in my mind. I wandered into a park I hadn't visited in years, and that's where I saw her. An older woman, sitting alone on a bench, sketching in a little notebook. Her presence was calm, grounded, like she belonged to the earth in a way I didn't understand yet. Something about her made me sit down on the nearby bench. We started talking. Her name was Rose. She was 79, a widow, a retired nurse, a beginner painter. She had silver hair, warm eyes, and a laugh that made everything feel okay. I told her, half-jokingly, that I was scared of getting old. She didn't laugh. Instead, she said, "So was I until I got here. Turns out, the view from this side is a lot clearer than I expected." That conversation changed everything. She told me how most of her life had been about others, raising kids, supporting her husband's career, working long hours to make ends meet. She had always thought she'd have time for herself later. But when her husband died unexpectedly, she was faced with a choice: to shrink into grief or to grow through it. "So I started painting," she said. "I had no idea what I was doing. But every morning, I gave myself permission to try. And now, I wake up excited again." She looked at me and added something I'll never forget. "The scariest thing isn't aging. It's realizing you've lived your whole life for everyone else and never truly met yourself. That hit me like lightning. I realized I'd been so busy trying to avoid aging that I had forgotten to live. I wasn't afraid of getting older. I was afraid of never becoming the person I knew I could be. That night, I started journaling. Nothing profound, just thoughts, pieces of truth I had been avoiding. I asked myself what I truly wanted, not what others expected, not what the world applauded, but what made my heart feel alive. I stopped setting goals based on time limits and started focusing on what brought me joy now, in this season, with this version of me. And slowly everything changed. I started waking up earlier, not to hustle, but to greet the day. I took long walks without needing to track steps or burn calories. I read books that stretched my soul. I reconnected with old friends, not to impress, but to simply be with them. I began learning a new language, just for fun. I started taking care of my body, not to fight age, but to honor it. And most importantly, I gave myself permission to be imperfect, to not have it all figured out, to begin again, at any age. What I discovered was that aging isn't a downhill slide. It's a deepening. It's peeling away the layers of who you thought you needed to be, so you can finally become who you truly are. It's slowing down enough to hear your own thoughts, to notice beauty, to stop running and start living. I met more people like Rose, an 81-year-old man who started writing poetry after retiring, a 75-year-old woman who went back to school to finish her degree, a couple in their 80s who were traveling the world, taking silly selfies in front of ancient ruins. These people weren't exceptions. They were examples. Proof that life doesn't end when you reach a certain number. It evolves. And so can you. Now, when I think about the future, I don't feel fear. I feel gratitude. Gratitude that I get to keep growing. Gratitude that I get to love more deeply, speak more kindly, laugh more freely. I look in the mirror and I see someone becoming more real, not less beautiful. I see stories in my skin, strength in my eyes, softness in my smile. Aging is not the enemy. Fear is. Regret is. Living someone else's life is. But age? Age is just time. And time, when used with intention, becomes the most sacred gift. So if you're scared of getting older, I want to tell you, don't be. Don't let the world trick you into thinking that life ends when youth fades. Don't waste your energy trying to reverse the clock. Use that energy to create, to connect, to discover. You're not too old to dream. You're not too late to start over. You're not past your prime. You're standing in it. Right now. Live boldly. Love deeply. Speak honestly. Dance awkwardly. Laugh loudly. And never let a number define your worth. Because in the end, aging isn't scary at all. It's a privilege. And how you choose to live, that is what truly matters. Thank you so much for being part of this journey here on Confident English. If this story made you breathe a little easier, if it reminded you that it's never too late, I hope you'll stay. Because here, we celebrate every version of you, at every age in every stage. You don't have to be young to begin again. You just have to be willing. I'd love to know. What's something you've always wanted to do, but felt you were too old to try? Have you ever surprised yourself by doing something new, no matter your age? Share your story in the comments below. Let's remind each other that we're never alone, and it's never too late. And of course, if you found this message meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more stories that speak to the heart and inspire real growth. You're not behind. You're right on time. And your best chapter may be just beginning.